If you were to ask 100 people what would make them happy, what would they like, many of them would say things like winning the lottery, or having a big fancy house with lots of bedrooms in a nice area, financial freedom, living the celebrity style lifestyle, all kinds of things like that. In other words, they would want abundance of what perhaps they haven't got at this moment in time, something new in a material sense, an abundance of material wealth which they feel would make them happy and bring them a sense of joy and fulfillment in their lives. Because these same people, if you ask them, well, if you had that, how would you feel? They say, oh, I'd be very happy. Yet there are so many millionaires and billionaires who have these kinds of lifestyles who most definitely are not happy. And that's what I'm going to be looking at today, as to why that is. So, I'm Jeremy Scott. Welcome to Re-Emerging Earth. Yeah, so many people believe that having a fabulous lifestyle with financial freedom or security, having a big house, lavish parties, lots of friends who are of celebrity status, and all these kinds of things, they believe that that's going to make them happy, feel more joyful and fulfilled in their lives. And you can understand that, because that is what we're told. So I remember in my days of direct sales, it was always put across in that way. You know, if you were speaking to a new prospect, you'd be taught how to find that hot button. That hot button that generates a passion in the prospect's voice. What is it they really want in their lives that they believe would make them happy? And we would offer them things like lots of money and cars and houses and holidays and all kinds of things like this. And for some, yes, that worked, in the sense of that was their hot point or their hot button. But wanting those things and getting them are two different things altogether. Wanting those things and keeping them is a different matter altogether. Wanting those things and really achieving the happiness and the joy that they're looking for is also a very different situation. And as I mentioned at the start of this episode, there is a sense of wanting these things, yet when you have them, you don't find that joy and happiness that you want, that you believe you should have. You don't have that sense of fulfillment, which is why even today there are a lot of celebrities and so on who aren't truly happy. So they start doing more and more outrageous things to try and find that joy and fulfillment. They thought that getting to that certain level of status, that certain level of abundance, would bring them the joy and the happiness, the fulfillment that they wanted. And in many cases this proved to be the opposite. One case in point is the very sad story of Robin Williams. And you'll have known him from films or series way back in the day, Mork and Mindy, lots of other comedy series, Good Morning Vietnam, and the Dead Poets Society, and the nights at the museum and all kinds of things like that. And on the surface, he was always very joyful, very happy, happy-go-lucky, cracking jokes and acting funny and acting weird sometimes. You know, and he made us laugh, didn't he? He made us feel happy inside ourselves. But at what cost? In reality, in the darkness of his own mind, he was deteriorating. And he deteriorated to such an extent that in the end he took his own life. Yet that was never spotted, because we all thought, oh, you know, he's happy where he is. Many people who have a similar kind of mental illness, this depression, anxiety, fear, they hide it so well, so that you wouldn't even know on the surface that there was anything untoward happening behind those eyes. The Chinese have a saying that the eyes are the window to the soul. And a Chinese doctor or acupuncturist and so on can look in your eyes and tell from your eyes what ailments you have. And there's something about that that certainly rings very true for me, because I believe that many of these celebrities who even in, say, less than clement weather still wear dark glasses so you don't see their eyes. And some will say, oh, that's because of their lifestyle, they're probably on coke or crack or something like that. And that may well be the case, but is that not part of it? Is that not their chosen escape route from all the darkness that surrounds them? Because they've achieved a certain level of status, a certain level of abundance, and still they're not finding or not experiencing true joy and fulfillment. So if material wealth doesn't bring it, if material wealth and status and so on doesn't provide the joy and abundance, or the joy and fulfillment that we're looking for, then what does? Is it a spiritual matter? Not always. There are also those who are very spiritual. They like to help others and they give of themselves to help others, to help improve their lives, to help the poor in poorer countries around the world, help build schools, to educate girls in some of these countries where that's kind of repressed or frowned upon, to help educate the young children to live better and more beneficial lives. And yet they too also suffer from despair, from depression and such like things. And why is that? In a lot of these cases, maybe not in every single case, but certainly in a lot of these cases, it's because they're giving out so much of themselves, they're forgetting to take care of themselves. They're that busy caring for others. They're using up all their own personal energy to do so. And they reach a stage of burnout because they're not taking care of themselves. That's where the universe comes in both situations, whether you're going for the material side of things or whether you're going for the spiritual side. At some point, the universe will let you know that perhaps you need to change something in your life. Spirit will send you a message of some kind. It may start off as being innocuous, maybe something you hear on the news or read online or in a newspaper or even a book or a podcast. Yeah? And if you don't take notice of that, then the next message will be a little bit tougher. Perhaps you have an accident, or you fail at something that you know normally you'd succeed at. If you're an artist or a musician or something like that, or in the acting world, and you're so used to getting different parts because of your status, and all of a sudden you get rejected, that's a bitter blow, because that affects your finances. So, and your way of living, your status and so on. That's affecting your view of yourself. That rocks your pedestal. It makes you wobble. And if you ignore that, there could be a health issue that comes along next. Could be through an accident. Could be through a virus, as we're still kind of experiencing now. Could be through any kind of thing. Maybe it's something that's been lying dormant within you, that's genetic, but it could quite easily have skipped a couple of generations, but Spirit has allowed it to manifest itself in you to wake you up. You say, well, that's a bit cruel. It's a bit tough, isn't it? Tough love. That's what you call it, tough love. The universe, Spirit, God, whatever you want to call the person you normally pray to, speak to, put your thoughts before and so on. They always, always, always only want your best. They only ever want you to do well in life. But if you ignore the messages, then those messages are going to get tougher and tougher. Until you finally do wake up and realise, I need to change my direction. Whether that's through burnout, whether that's through maybe a serious accident, whether that's through an illness that's maybe put you in a coma for a few months, and you wake up and you realise, you know what, I need to change. And you start taking care of yourself then. And many have done this in the past. There's people that I watch or read about or study their work. People like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Michael Sandler, just to name a couple, who have had accidents in the past. Serious accidents that paralysed them. Michael Sandler, he was involved in a cycle accident. He was a racer. I think Joe Dispenza was something along the same as well, if I remember rightly. He was also involved with racing and so on. He had a serious accident. And in both cases, they were seriously hurt. I think Joe was paralysed even for a while. It gave them plenty of time for reflection. Gave them plenty of time to reconsider the direction of their lives and where they were going and what they were doing and what they should be doing. And they realised that first and foremost, that to achieve a real sense of abundance, a real sense of joy and fulfillment, you need to look after yourself first. You work on yourself and get yourself right, then you'll have the strength and the ability and the skill to help others to get them right in that way. Isn't that what Jesus taught? Love yourself first. Take care of yourself first. And he epitomizes that in the the story of, was it the parable where he's talking about taking a straw out of your brother's eye, but first of all take the log out of yours, because how can you see to take the straw out of your brother's eye if you're blinded by the log that's in yours? I'm paraphrasing. That essentially was the message. And it's so true, because if we're not taking care of ourselves spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, then all the different challenges, all the different cares in the world, the anxieties, the fears are going to start weighing us down, are going to sit on our shoulders like ton weights, pushing us further and further into the ground, so that eventually we will end up under the ground, in a literal sense, or at least scattered, maybe on the surface of it. Yeah, serious matters, and that's the kind of thing that happened to such wonderful people like Robin Williams. He gave so much of himself to help others, to bring joy to others, to make them laugh and cry with laughter, and he put on that persona of being the happy person that he was, and then behind the scenes he took the mask off and he wore the other mask, the one with the frown, the one with the downturned mouth. And I think in many ways that's why those two masks are symbols of the arts of acting in particular. You have one mask that's smiling, the other mask that's crying or downturned and sad. Because the artists, when they're on the stage, in front of the camera, even in street performers, they are someone else. They're not the true selves. But afterwards, they become the true selves. And I saw this, I experienced this. I must have been about 9 or 10. I went to a local circus and I saw the clowns in the circus, and they were jolly and playful and mucking about, teasing the audience and all kinds of things like this. And then I happened to go outside and go round the back, and there was one of the clowns that was the favourite of the show, smoking a cigarette and cursing and spitting, and his real mouth was downturned and snarly. I never really liked clowns since, if I'm being honest. That was a turning point for me, because it showed me the falseness of that kind of situation, how untrue we can be to ourselves, our true selves, by creating this facade of joyfulness and happiness. But in actual fact, we are, as the saying goes, as miserable as sin. And that's the case with a lot of people who, they see this joyful life, and that's what they think is the epitome of having the abundance, the epitome of having a joyful and fulfilled life. And then they achieve that. They work hard, they hustle and hustle, they bustle and bustle. They work hard to achieve that. And then they realise there's something missing. I'm not happy. I don't feel fulfilled. I've got a sense of achievement because I've done all this hard work and I appreciate that. But there's something missing. It's like at Easter time. Use this analogy. It's like at Easter time when you get like the chocolate eggs and you look at the pictures on the outside and it looks like the egg is full of chocolate and sweets and things like that. Then you open the package and not only is the egg smaller, then the package kind of hints at, but there's nothing inside it. All the sweets and everything are perhaps in a little plastic bag tucked to one side. There's maybe only about 10 in them or something like that. So there's a great sense of disappointment there, isn't there? And that's the same kind of situation with those who pursue the riches of the world, if you like, the abundance, without realizing that they need to take care of themselves as well along the way, that they need to look after their spiritual selves as well as their physical selves. It's not all about manifesting the fast cars, the big houses, huge bank accounts. It's also about the spiritual aspect of it, being grateful, giving thanks to Spirit, God, whoever, being fulfilled along the way, feeling a sense of achievement, true joy, because they're working on themselves. And you can attain all these wonderful things that you want in your life by following a spiritual path alongside whatever it is you're doing. Because there's nothing anywhere in any of the scriptures that I know of that says you're not allowed to. Even in the Bible it talks about having an abundance of riches and so on. So you work on yourself, you can be present at all times, you can be in the now all the time, and you're working on your spiritual self as well as the material self in that way. And a lot of times if you're working on your spiritual self and you're getting your innards right, if you like, in a spiritual sense, the material is attracted to you. And that also kind of ties in with the law of attraction, because that's all about attracting the vibes, the good positive vibes that you're giving out are being reciprocated by positive vibes that are coming in from the universe, from Spirit. So you become a magnet for positivity. You become a magnet for the things that you would like to achieve in your life. You become a magnet for the lifestyle that you would like to have or you'd love to enjoy. And then when you do achieve it, you feel a fuller sense of joy and fulfillment. And true joy and love are not based on riches. I may talk about this another time. So it's essential that we work on ourselves more than perhaps we work in our career, because working on ourselves is more important. That takes a priority. But even in the Bible, it does talk about those who do have the riches, the wealth. They are blessed in these ways. Yet if they're not grateful, if they don't come from an attitude of gratitude, as the old adage says, if they don't come from a place of unconditional love, not only for themselves but for all things around them, then they're the ones who are building walls and fitting their security cameras all over the place, living in fear that someone is going to come and take all that away, because they base their life, they base their very being, their very essence on all these trappings of wealth. They think, and it's all in the mind, they think that's who they are. They think that they are the physical representation of all this wealth, the symbol of all this wealth. And if someone takes that away, they'll have nothing. Yet they'll have probably the most richest and joyous possession they could ever have, and that's their life and their connection with all there is, all that is, their connection to Spirit, to all the energies that surround us, their connection to their heart, to themselves, their true selves, their higher selves, their inner selves, their connection to God, to Spirit, and then have the opportunity to start again. But many don't. They lose everything and then they take their own lives. They take the last thing, the most precious thing they have. They destroy that as well. And that's their journey. Let's face it, that's their journey. That's nothing that we can control. We could advise and counsel, but whether they take that advice or counsel, I mean, it's down to them at the end of the day. It's not our business to force them or to make them see the light. We can only advise, show them. At the end of the day, it's their choice. And that could well be their journey, their karmic journey, whatever you want to call it, in this particular life, to experience that kind of living. Or not. They're given the choice. And if they choose to do that way, then that's what they'll experience. And if they don't, perhaps they'll change along the way and live a more joyful, fulfilled life. So abundance isn't everything. It's not the be-all, end-all. Certainly not when it comes to material wealth, and also not even spiritual wealth on its own, if you're not taking care of yourself. The true abundance, the true joy and so on is in your heart, it's in your body. It's in every single cell of your body. It's in everything that you see, you experience all around you. That's where the true abundance is. That's where the true joy is. And the love. As I said, I may go deeper into that another time. But for now, I'd just like you to take this thought away with you, that to attain true joy and fulfillment, don't just focus on a single path, a single road, because the joy and fulfillment can be found first of all within. So work on yourselves first before you start your journey to abundance, joy and fulfillment. Hope that makes sense to you guys. Just rambling on, I guess, as I walk through my local park and enjoy the wonder which is nature. I really love that on this warm sunny day. It's just absolutely wonderful. It makes me feel very much alive as well as inspired. So stay in the now, stay in the present, work on yourself and learn to enjoy the joy and fulfillment of being you. See you next time. Bye.